Welcome to Expats Everywhere. Can you tell us your name, where you're from, and a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Eileen. You can call me Ail or Eileen is fine. And I'm an IT person here in Singapore. I came from the Philippines. I've been working in Singapore for almost 8 years already.
Okay, so have you worked in any other countries besides Singapore?
No, Singapore is the only country that I've worked with currently, but maybe in the future there will be.
Great. So what is it like working in IT in Singapore?
Working in an IT industry is very competitive, especially that if you're a woman. So even though you don't see that there is inequality, but there's really a huge difference between a guy and a woman working in an IT. So competitive means that you have to study every year, you have to do professional development, you have to keep up with the latest technology or updates so that you can keep up and you can compete with other people.
So what kind of IT jobs are available?
There's so many IT jobs actually, even in health sector, in education, in oil and gas, everywhere there's a need of IT. So if you are an IT person, you need to have a specialization wherein that is needed in a certain company. So it's everywhere. Yes.
So what experience do you have in the IT world?
Well, my experience basically in IT world here in Singapore were from international schools, supporting the school, the student, the teachers, the parents, doing work in terms of devices, software. Back in the Philippines, I am working in an American company and I'm supporting them overseas as well. So it's a huge difference. It's a BPO versus international school. So in line here in Singapore, I'm in international school, but currently my job is in the government of Singapore, which I could not divulge a lot of it. But then yes, I'm supporting the IT sector, one of the company of the Singaporean government.
Okay, so if someone wants to do IT at an international school, what would a typical day look like?
Well, for them, they have to be early before the students or the teachers comes in. They have to prepare things for their support because they will be facing the student or the teachers with a like on-time problem, or there are a problem that occurs that you don't realize it's there, it's gonna pop up. So most of the day you start with like checking your emails, checking the ticketing system, which if there are any kind of requests, issues or problems, and then you have to check and see if there are anything that you need to update, check on the things that are working properly. So you have to manage not just on the admin side but also on the physical side for IT and the school itself. Yeah.
So then in the corporate world, what would a typical day look like in IT?
It's really very different because you can come at 9 o'clock usually in a corporate world, and then you open your computer, you check your email. You don't need to think of the students or teachers to go to you asking for help. In the corporate world, you just have to go to your computer, check your email, check the tickets, and then you are dealing with bigger consumers or clientels. It's not just only the kids, but you have the vendors, you have the bosses, you have everybody, and you're not just talking about like 500 to 1,000, but like thousands of employees.
Okay, so in your opinion, which one is better?
I cannot say which one is better, but these two sectors have taught me a lot. I mean, I have to learn and unlearn things when I get into the international school, and then now in a big company is more of like a different way of style of giving your service, and Yeah, I cannot say that which is better. There are certain points actually that is like an advantage and disadvantage.
Okay, so just different, but have their own pros and cons.
Yes, yes, yes.
So how much money can someone expect to earn doing IT in Singapore?
Doing an IT in Singapore gives you a decent pay. To be honest, they are way above the standard SPAS. They can go from SPAS to EPAS or more than that. If you want to know the figures, that will be based on your experience actually. But what I've heard currently right now on the system, it may run to 3,000 and above. Or yeah, if you're a beginner, then maybe 2,500 or something. But it can go way up.
Okay, so let's just say there is someone who is a beginner that doesn't have much experience. They come in and they're making 2,500 Singapore dollars.
Yep.
Is that enough money to live on in Singapore? And what kind of lifestyle would you be living?
I guess it is enough. Yes, it is enough. But then it's a very simple kind of lifestyle. You may share a house with some people, or may share a room. You may not stay in a condominium in that manner because you may just be on like HDBs or sort of that way, because condominiums here are very expensive. So it's actually okay, but then maybe for like if you plan for traveling, you really need to save, and you cannot just like eat out every day. You just have to save some money for your day-to-day and your rents and all that.
Okay, so if someone is making 2,500, do you think that they can save any of that?
Yes. One of my bosses told me before, no matter how your salary is, it depends on you, on how you spend and how you save. So definitely, when I start here, my salary is somewhere there, way back 2011 or so, and I was able to actually save or send money back home. So it depends on your lifestyle, but definitely if you are not that big spender, yes, you can really save.
All right, good advice. So let's change gears here. If someone has a job and they're getting ready to move to Singapore, how much money should they bring with them just to get started?
For Asian, because they have only 30 days, I think they may need to have like 3,000 SGD and above if they really want to stay like, for 3 months or so, if they project it that way. For because it depends on your nationality or your race. Caucasian usually have 90 days here for free that you can stay to Singapore. So 3,000 is above is very reasonable money. That is an SGD, okay? Money to keep you afloat here in Singapore.
So how should someone pack and what's the weather like?
Well, they should pack only light clothes, because the weather here in Singapore is just rainy and dry season. So, I mean, I think it's all summer all the time, or it doesn't have 4 seasons here. It's just only dry and wet season.
And what would be appropriate dress for work?
For work, if your company requires you that kind of dress, like business casual, usually for IT, business casual. But there are some companies who are open, that they are actually letting their employees wear jeans and t-shirts, especially if they're going more on-site or doing more of the dirty jobs. So you don't need to do business casual. But if you're just in the office and then you do a little bit of on-site support, then business casual is my advice.
Is there anything from the Philippines that you can't get here that every time you go back you bring with you?
There's a lot actually, but there's one particular that I really buy from the Philippines and bring it here. The disinfectant and alcohol. So they don't have like a huge one here. They just have a little one. So I'm used when in the Philippines to use most of the time the alcohol to disinfect my hands. So I brought it in here to use in the office and at home.
Okay. All right. How safe is Singapore, and do you feel safe?
It's very safe. For living here for almost 8 years, I have experience going home almost 12 o'clock, going into the dark alley or streets, and no one will mug you or do something. So it's very safe here. There's mostly like less crime, those petty crimes, but you will not be affected because the government is so serious in protecting their people and keeping the country very safe.
Great. How do you meet people?
Well, I meet people through work, through church, and friends of friends. Yes.
And then what kinds of things do you guys do for fun?
Well, we go out, we watch movies, we actually go picnic or cook out or visit someone's place and then do something. Or you can have like a scheduled bowling session or things like that. So yes.
So there are lots of things that you could do in Singapore. Is there a good variety?
Yes, definitely. It depends on your preferences or what you enjoy to do. Then definitely they have outdoor sports here. They have biking. They have everything that you needed actually. It's a small country, but then they can offer you a lot.
Okay, so a big question is always about the visa. What kind of visa would someone in the IT world have, and what's the process of getting it?
Well, for us, part of ASEAN countries, we have 30 days here to stay to look for a job. And then once the employer hired you, they will help you process the visa, working visa, which are actually ESPAS, EPAS, and then those for the domestic foreign workers, they are just only for work pass. So basically, that depends on your education background, your experience, if they can, and also the job offer, if they're offering EPAS or SPAS. So for foreigners for ASEAN, usually get an SPAS, and then once the government had approved it, then you can start working. No matter how much your company likes you, but the government rejects your pass application, then you cannot work here in Singapore. So usually it's 2 to 3 years, and sometimes they can just only give 1 year. For Caucasians, that depends. Usually Caucasians are being given e-pass because more of their educational background or their experiences. But mostly what I've seen here or the trending is that if you're Caucasian, you usually get an e-pass. Yes, so and then you get the higher the benefits are like with the free condominiums and other stuff which are not offered to the other people or other nationalities.
So then let's talk about healthcare. What's your healthcare like, and would you feel comfortable getting a procedure done in Singapore?
Yes, I did. I actually had a minor surgery on my breast last year. So it's very commendable to have the doctors here done the procedures. But oftentimes we really have to have second opinion everywhere so that they can give you which advice suited or suits you best. The healthcare here is very good. The company can offer you that. So aside from the outpatient medical insurance, you have this when you go to have surgeries and big things or like serious stuff for health. Yes, they definitely support their people, and Singapore is really working very hard to promote health. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that Singapore is a good travel hub? Why or why not?
Yes, it is. When I actually transferred here in Singapore, I didn't know that it's the easiest place to actually be here and then go to Bangkok, Bali, any other Asian countries. This is a good place where you can start your travel this is a good place where you can actually do your Indochina trip. So, I mean, this is a small country, but it can offer you a lot. I mean, in a day, you can go around Singapore, but then it offers you, again and again, I'm telling that it offers you really varieties of things that you can do. Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so last question. What are some pros and cons about living in Singapore?
The pros in living in Singapore is that everything is so near to you. Everything is just like so easy, transportation wise, services wise. Everything is very efficient. Buses and all those things. Uh, Singapore is a small country, a good country that protects its people, and but the cons is that in when you are in a big city, the cost of living is expensive too. Like the house is very expensive here. The rent is so expensive here. But with food, I don't think so. Food is okay. You can cook if you want, and then you can find some good hawker centers or restaurant which are less expensive, which you can enjoy the local authentic food or other food, because they're not just offering only Singaporean food, they're offering international variety of food. So I think the con only is that it's the housing rent here is very expensive. The rest is very much okay. Everything is handed to you really just like that. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Eileen, thank you so much for telling us about life in Singapore today.
You're welcome.